Market exposure is one of the most important things we've been talking about with XDC. There aren't many ways to buy XDC besides using something like Uphold. The main reason why most US buyers don't have much exposure to XDC is because of where we could get it. The crazy thing is that we've been talking about how the markets are opening up for XDC for the past couple of weeks. Check out the list of great platforms that list XDC. However, it can be hard for people in the US to get access to this, but this is how XDC's last 7 days have looked. Some of us are beginning to break out. We've gone up about 5% in the last week, which might not seem like much, but in the last month, we've gone back down to 10 cents. We're up almost 70%. So I'm going to talk about this right now. And I'm also going to talk about this because, I've been saying for a couple of weeks that XDC is going to surprise a lot of people this cycle. And even if we only look at the 1 month or 1 year chart, this setup looks very bullish. Let's look at the price chart now. Let's take a look at this. This is a quick look at the price chart for 1 week. We did break out of that downward trend. Heard this? It may have been on the 3rd day that we were looking at this. In fact, we looked at this for 3 days and saw that we had broken out of the decline. This lower trend line kept getting tapped. We hit it again around June, and then we started to see a steady uptrend form. The upper trend line was broken. We broke all of the high points from April, and then we kept going up until we reached the high point from February of this year. We've been keeping an eye on some old coin charts, and this is the level of resistance seen on higher time frames. It's the red zone. Usually these price charts accept that level. We often see a sell-off after that. We already saw XDC go down in price. We almost hit all of the past highs. We did find support on the 3-day around the same level that we found support on in January just before we went through the roof and hit 16 cents. Let's quickly look at the last week. What do we see on this map right now for the last week? We can see that XTC has formed a bull flag. This is usually the best place to keep an eye on for a big break above the resistance levels. We are going to have a clear move on this chart in about 4 days and 21 hours. This move could end the week above all of this support. That would mean we would have to test again at 12.5 cents and maybe even test the wick again at almost 16 cents. I'm recording this a little early. Price data and price movement at the end of this week will be very important to keep an eye on for XDC. But right now, XDC looks very, very good because so few people are paying attention to what XDC has been doing over the last couple of months. I think this is one of the most bullish altcoins on the market right now. Now, let's talk about exchanges because, when we think about XDC, let's compare markets right now. Let me open this in a new tab instead. You do know that XDC has Bybit, right? The second biggest cryptocurrency market is Bybit. It's a huge trade. But what about Binance? What about Binance US in particular? Because Binance US is 23rd on this list. When compared to Binance, it's not a very big market. However, if we are added to Binance US, it usually means that Binance is not too far away. XDC could be added to Binance, which is a market. Coinbase might also be able to add XDC. I think Upbit could also list it. Yes, we don't have any Upbit listings. It would be easy for 3 of the top 5 exchanges to add XDC. Okay, X is another one that could list XDC. I mean, the number of listing possible IDs for XDC here is crazy. This is being brought up now because XDC has been listed in more and more places over the last couple of weeks. On July 23rd, Coin was the first one. Again, it was that's it for number 98. The exchange is very small, and there isn't much important about Coin. That's why, we're really looking at other exchange ads. It's clear that having more exposure to XDC is a good thing. It means more cash and the EETP. The XDC ETP from 21 shares. XDC is also getting a little more attention here. It really does help. But, we'd like to see more big exchange entries. People from stores should be able to rush into XDC, especially when the real moves happen, because that's when fear of missing out, FOMO, sets in. Many times, that's when the biggest changes on the chart happen. That's why we want to get more attention from XDC at that time. Next, we'll look at XT Exchange. Once more, this is not a small exchange of time. There are almost 500,000 fans. I believe XT Exchange is slightly higher on the list. Quickly show me trades. Okay, xt.com. It is one of the 30 best exchanges. This is not a small-time exchange at all since they trade billions of dollars worth of trades every single day, almost $2 billion. To see XT, let's go back to the exchange ads and scroll down to number 30. Even though it said top 30, I thought XT would be here, but it looks like it's not. I'll try to find it right away. Okay, 1 second. The top 20 market is xt.com, which you can see here. 2.7 million hits a week, worth $2 billion. There is a pretty big trade here, and they did list XDC on June 23. You could start trading on June 24th, and you could also make payments on June 25th. Once more, this was a great entry for XDC. After that, we got Kraken. On July 29th, XTC Network News told us that XTC would soon be traded on Kraken FX. Here is the roadmap. In fact, T1 exchanges showing XTC means that the XTC wave is coming. At the very bottom, we can see XTC. New blockchains are being added, and the native token and is also being listed for trade. Also, Kraken is one of the top 15. Every week, 1.2 million people come and almost $1.5 billion in trade in 24 hours. This is a very big exchange that wants to add XDC to its list. Still, it's not even close to being as big as Binance. However, we also got news from Assetera, a regulated trading site in the EU that added XDC and lists it on its platform. Another great update to, again, get more people to know about XDC. It's always great to see that XDC is getting more and more publicity. Once more, though, it's not a T1 swap. I mean, Kraken is definitely one of them. There are a few more platforms like XT Exchange that are up there. Binance? What about it? We finally found out the news, and I know I'm a little late to the party. I get it, guys. But trade will start for real today. It started today at 4 a.m. PDT, which is 7 a.m. EDT, but we are now fully listed on Binance US. This is now on Binance US. It's clear that Binance in the US is still pretty big, but let's scroll down the list. You should know that XT.com is bigger than Binance US, which is ranked 23rd, only about 200,000 hits a week. Still, this is good news because it means we will probably also be properly listed on Binance. Bundle is now the big one. 9 million or more visits a week and trading volume in the 20s. That's crazy. 23 billion in 24 hours of trading activity. That's why we're focusing on Binance, though. So the fact that we're now being listed on Binance US is really cool. Our attention has been on this for a long time. We will finally get listed on these T1 exchanges. This is something I keep bringing up and talk about a lot on this channel. It's now clear that it will happen. The XDC market will wake up very quickly because of this. I believe there are many more eyes on XDC at this point as well. Also, if we look at the price chart, now is a great time. Guys, this situation is really bullish for XDC. I'm still waiting for us to break through some of these highs because as soon as we do, that all-time high fro. Listen up, we were really close. We were less than 30% of the way to a new all-time high from that high spark. At $25, it was only about 26% away from a new all-time high. We are about 96% of the way there from where we are now. I know that sounds crazy, but it's nothing compared to what we saw on XDC not long ago. I mean, this move from June's low to July's high was about 86%. Now that our ad is getting a lot more attention, that could happen very quickly. There are also a lot more changes coming out for XDC. That's a great start. Also, what about ETFs? Smoke Dog deserves a lot of praise for this. We do have this. Justin, one of the founders of XDC, says that the application for the XDC ETF will be sent to the SEC in the next few weeks. Look, take a look at this, guys. All of these companies issue ETP during the European season with Euronext 21 shares. The best part is that we are now going to apply for ETF for HDP. Wow, I hear that. I don't know if hearing it first is exciting or not. Yes, the event where we start ETF is going to be very small. We are going to apply with SSE in about 2 weeks. Amazing. Well done. Oh, that's cool. And it's great to see this because I've been saying the same thing about XRP because we've been looking for the XRP ETF too. A lot of these altcoin ETFs will be fully through by the end of the year. In fact, this is also very good to see. This might be a huge boost for XDC. It shows that XDC has more support than ever before. After the all-time high in 2021, I think I already talked about this, right? When we consider how high XDC can go this cycle, it's pretty important. People have been telling me that we're in phase 2 of altcoins, which means we still have a long way to go. Phase 2 started not long ago. We're just getting started with this. This is where Ethereum starts to shine. But after this, all D coins really get going. We are keeping an eye on XDC versus Ethereum. This is XDC's Ethereum chart. We were dealing at those same levels all the way back in 2021. This resistance is what we're dealing against. We could see it back in January 2022 and again in June 2022. It happened in July 2023, as we can see. Also, XDC's chart went crazy around this time. Let us quickly go back to July 2023. That's when XDC made that nice move to almost 10 cents. At that time, everyone was happy, but guess what? We weren't yet in the area of the bull run, but we could also see it back here after we broke through that support in June 2021 and hit the all-time high on XDC. So I'm keeping an eye on how we trade in this big uptrend